Hey folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. This week's news brought to you by a slow news week yet again. Yes, really not a whole lot of major movie news this week in the world. I mean, Heat 2 is now being made over at United Artists, not Warner Brothers, and Michael Mann said that AI and de-aging will be used in the movie, and Michael Fassbender will be playing JFK in a Kennedy series over at Netflix, but really, there isn't all that major news, and whatever is interesting, there's going to be a lot more news about it next year, because nothing's all that pressing. So, I figured we'll just have a little Talking with Two Shoes segment here this week on VistaVision, an old way of shooting movies that has now become the new way of shooting movies. And since VistaVision has been coming up more and more, and will continue to as well, I figured I'll give a quick breakdown on what really even is VistaVision. So originally developed and first used by Paramount in 1954, VistaVision was created really to compete with a new technology that 20th Century Fox came out with called CinemaScope. The main goal of VistaVision was to create a better picture, a better looking movie at a wider angle. The actual film used in the camera is almost the exact same thing used in normal cameras. It's still 35mm film reels, but a normal camera, even the ones used today on some movies, the film reels sit on top of the cameras, and 24 frames of that 35mm film every second will pass down vertically behind the lens. What VistaVision does, the film reels will sit behind the camera, and once again, 24 frames every second will pass behind the lens, but this time horizontally and not vertically. This creates a bigger space for the image to be imprinted. When going vertically, the little 35mm frames have 4 perforations on each side. These are the tiny little holes that are used to grab onto the film and keep it moving, keep it spinning. When moving horizontally, though, through the camera, the perforations are on the top and bottom, not the sides, and there are 8 of them. This technically now gives the very same shot even more surface area to be captured in the film. The result is a clearer, more crisp, detailed image with less of the grain of the film coming through. It gives you an image that has more depth, it's more immersive. Another cool thing is when the film is edited down and that original negative is completed, the film can then be mass-produced in all kinds of aspect ratios. So that crisper, more detailed film can be played in an old-school theater or on much more modern-day wider screen aspect ratios as well, making it great for theaters today where we have all kinds of shapes and sizes. This is why, although a full feature film has not been shot with VistaVision since 1961, up until very recently, the format was actually being used selectively for special effects. So George Lucas used VistaVision here and there in Star Wars, and in fact the technique was still being used up into the 2010s. Special effects artists really liked using that cleaner, crisper image. Not until last year was it really brought back to life with the film The Brutalist, and only the very recent One Battle After Another was entirely shot using VistaVision cameras. All this is to say that although many films will continue to be made with digital cameras, many directors will still choose to shoot on film, and what directors are picking up on is why not use Vista. It's still 35mm, but it looks better, it's more detailed, it captures more of the actual true image. It kind of begs the question, why did it ever go away? Paramount only shot movies with it for 7 years. The first movie ever to use Vista was White Christmas in 1954, and the last one being One-Eyed Jacks in 1961. Overall, 60 films were made with the technology, including Vertigo, The Ten Commandments, The Searchers, and North by Northwest. But the cameras could be finicky. They were also more cumbersome. They were noisier to use. They also used more film than a standard 35mm film camera, so that made it more expensive. On top of that, at the time, there were a bevy of new, cheaper alternatives coming out that could also get wider shots as well. So Vista kind of fell out of fashion, with the exception of those specialty digital effects shots. But here we are in 2025, and some directors don't care about those little annoyances. It's all about how the movie looks. So just like Christopher Nolan deals with the headaches that IMAX cameras can cause, directors like Paul Thomas Anderson, Alejandro G. Inarritu, and Greta Gerwig are willing to deal with those annoyances of VistaVision to get that better-looking film. And since the original film can be relatively easily converted into different sizes, we, the audience, can appreciate it too. And a quick fun fact, there are only 4 theaters in the world that have true VistaVision equipped projectors and the proper screen size. So 3 of those being in the States, and the true aspect ratio is 1.5 to 1, meaning 1.5 across and 1 vertical. They're actually not that big of screens, and the projectors can still break down mid-movie, which actually happened a bunch of times when trying to screen one battle after another, but it looks exactly how it was shot, which, that's pretty cool. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. This could have been way, way longer, but I tried to simplify things as best as possible. And again, you're going to be hearing this word more and more. And maybe you care, and maybe you'll really notice how good a movie looks. A lot of people probably won't, and that's okay too. But there is a concerted effort to bring this back to life by people who really care a lot about the look and feel of their films. So even though 2 years ago the format was all but dead, we now have The Brutalists from last year, we have PTA's One Battle After Another from this year, and coming up we have Inarritu's comedy film with Tom Cruise next year, Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights, M. Night Shyamalan's Remain, Greta Gerwig's Narnia reboot is shot with it, and even the 3rd season of Euphoria coming out. The entire thing shot on VistaVision. So it's here, and only getting more and more popular. And hopefully we all now have a better idea of what VistaVision is all about. A bigger surface area, capturing more of the picture in a more detailed, more immersive way. And okay, so just a quick mention of the box office here. So Black Phone 2 had a better than expected opening weekend. That's raking in $27.3 million. That certainly won the weekend, with Tron Ares having a really bad second weekend, only raking in $11.1 million in the second position. Coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. We have all new films here for you folks. So, we are covering Good Fortune, a comedy film directed by Aziz Ansari. Then A House of Dynamite. This will be coming out on Netflix this Friday, but Vin and I were able to catch it early in a theater, so we're excited to talk about director Catherine Bigelow's return to the screen. And then finally, we'll see what Ethan Hawke is up to in Black Phone 2. And that is directed by Scott Derrickson. So that's it for your weekly movie news here, folks. We'll leave you today with a quote from a director, Paul Thomas Anderson. It's not as easy as shooting with a regular 35mm camera, so it went out of fashion in the early 60s. But films kept cropping up and you go, wow, why am I liking this? Oh, it's that VistaVision again. And it always just nagged me as a really good possibility to try to make a film with it. You're going to be wondering, why does it look like that? And the answer is because of this beautiful, beautiful format. And all right, folks, the Daily Ratings weekly movie news podcast, that was it. See you on Thursday.